Today we're going to talk about congruent triangles. Now remember a couple of things with congruent. Congruent itself just means that it's the same shape, same size, everything like that. So we did an exploration in class, we saw that work out, and we saw same shape, same size. And we could have this with all sorts of different figures and shapes and all of that kind of thing. So I could have a couple of different figures. They can be the same shape, same size. Now, mine aren't going to be perfect because I'm drawing them by hand, but if I look at this, I can say that A, B, C, D is congruent to. Now, be careful here. We want to go in the same order. So I started here. So A matches with H, E, F, G. And that's to make sure that everything matches. I know A matches with H, B matches with E, C with F, D with G, so on and so forth there. So I've got that. And what that tells me is that all the angles are congruent. So A is congruent to H, B is congruent to E, C is congruent to F, D is congruent to G, and all the sides are congruent. AB congruent to HE, BC congruent to EF, CD congruent to FG, and DA congruent to GH. So all sides are congruent and all angles are congruent. Now, the big thing is I don't want to have to show that every time in certain things. I have to sometimes, I get that, I know that. But if I can shortcut some of this, I'm going to. And that especially happens when we talk about triangles. Now, SSS, side, side, side. This is the first one we're going to talk about. SSS, side, side, side. If three sides of one triangle are congruent to three sides of another triangle. Well, here's how we're going to mark that. Those two sides might be congruent. I'll put one mark on them apiece. BC is congruent to EF. Those get 2 marks. AC is congruent to DF. Those get 3. So if we see something marked like this, we can say that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. Make sure they're going in the same order there. Side, side, side. That's a pretty nice one. Now, the other one we're going to talk about today is side, angle, side, SAS. And this says of two sides in the included angle. So I'm going to pick a side here. So I'm going to go AB congruent to DE. And I'm going to go with AC congruent to DF. Well, those are our two sides. Now I need the included angle. Now the included angle means the one that's between. So the angle in between these two, angle A congruent to angle D. So I see something that looks like this, then the two triangles are congruent. So I can say triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF by SAS. I want to put by SAS. Now, to kind of go through and show you a couple of examples how this might work and how you're going to see this today on an assignment. If I have a picture that looks like this, like that, you'll see things like this and they'll say, oh, how are the two triangles congruent? Or which triangles are congruent? And it'll want to know why. We can say yes, they are congruent. We can say triangle ABD is congruent to, now A matches with C, B is up here the same, and D is the same, by, now we have to come up with a reason why. And we want to remember, we've seen this, we've done this, we've worked with this before. Well, not, we haven't really spoken about it, but this shared side right here, BD, works like that because it's in both triangles. So if you see a shared side, go ahead and mark it right away by SSS. So that is a very common one. Another kind that we're going to see would look something like this. And what you would see here is marked up like this. So same kind of question up here. Are the triangles congruent and why? Well, down here, what we need to realize and what we need to see right away is we need to be able to mark these angles right away. Those are vertical angles. That is one of them that we can mark right away. If we see that, we mark that. So that's true there. And then I can say, yes, they're congruent. So yes, triangle QRS is congruent to triangle UTS. Make sure you're putting the matching parts with each other by SAS. So we want to be able to say why. Watch for this. This shared line is important. This right here is important, these vertical angles. If you want to know up here, this is a reflexive is what that's called. It's just when something is congruent to itself. It just means shared. Shared angle or shared side. Vertical angles are one of them that we know, so we want to make sure to mark that as well.